The morning I stepped onto my porch and saw four construction guys in neon vests tearing up my yard, chainsaws buzzing dirt, flying, one of them going right through the lilac hedge my uncle planted 30 years ago, I knew right then this wasn't just about some HOA. It was about power control, somebody trying to break you right in your own home. You know that feeling when you realize you're about to be dragged into a war you didn't ask for. That's exactly where I found myself. I wish I could say I was surprised, but the truth is, around here, trouble always drives a white Audi and wears a blazer. Her name was Karen Delo, the kind of woman who could ruin your day and never blink, the type who thought the world ran better with her in charge, even if she had to fake the rules to make it happen. Let me back up a second, just so you know where I'm coming from. I'm Adam Brooks. My wife's Julia. My daughter's Maddie. For the past month, all I wanted was a fresh start. A place where a guy could dig in the dirt, breathe free, watch his kid get lost in a backyard big enough to swallow a city block. It was the kind of house you dream about inheriting, 2 acres of hillside, a porch that wraps you up like a hug just far enough from town. You can hear yourself think, but close enough you can get a pizza delivered when you're too tired to cook. My uncle, God rest him, left me the keys and one promise: this land is a legal island, son. No HOA, no dues, no nonsense. And believe me, I checked. Walked the property line twice, read zoning maps, till my eyes bled, even talked to the county. Not in Millstone Ridge. HOA never has been, they told me. So we rolled up on that first day, sun shining, grass, waving, Julia smiling in that quiet way of hers, Maddie yelling dibs on the attic before we'd even parked. For one sweet minute, it felt like maybe, just maybe, the world was finally gonna let us be. And then that Audi showed up, white, spotless, blacked out windows like a shark gliding up the drive. Out steps Karen, white blazer heels, crunching the gravel, sunglasses too big for her face. A smirk that said she was sheriff, mayor, and executioner all in one. Didn't even bother with hello, just marched up with 2 cronies in matching polos, arms crossed like bouncers, and barked, "You can't move in without board approval." Her voice cut the air, sharp, loud enough for the whole block. I tried to keep it light, told her I didn't need approval. This isn't HOA land. Got the paperwork to prove it. She just smiled, cold and thin, and said, "That may have been true once, but the board updated the jurisdiction lines. You're in violation now." I actually laughed out loud because the idea you could just redraw property lines like Monopoly was so insane. But Karen wasn't joking, not even a little. She leaned in and said, "You'll regret this." And for a second I thought maybe she was right. Next morning I'm pouring coffee and the living room fills up with blue and red light. 2 squad cars out front, Maddie in pajamas frozen at the window. Julia's hand squeezing mine so hard I nearly dropped my mug. I step outside, clutching every deed, title, zoning map I could find, and the cop asks if I'm Adam Brooks. There's Karen standing by her car like she's already won the lottery. "They're trespassing," she says loud enough for the neighborhood. "Obstructing community access." The cop flips through my paperwork, nods, then looks at Karen and says, "Ma'am, this property isn't under your jurisdiction." Karen whips out her HOA binder, waves it like a magic wand. The charter was amended in 2022. Section 3.44 authorizes expansion. Cop just shrugs, says, "That's internal policy, not county law. Keep making false reports and you could be charged." She stared at me like she wanted to set me on fire, hissed, "If you won't do something, officer, we will." Then stormed off. That night I'm at the mailbox when Greg, one of Karen's board lackeys, slinks over. "She's not done," he mutters, eyes darting. "Had lunch with the zoning inspector. Word is she blackmailed him to sign a fake map. You didn't hear it from me." I thanked him, printed off 5 more copies of everything paranoia, starting to feel like common sense. Couple days later I wake up to silence. No birds, no breeze, just that gut sense something's off. Open the door, 2 concrete barriers across my driveway, massive spray-painted HOA access only in neon orange. Not traffic cones. Highway blocks. Julia just shook her head. She's really doing it, huh? It was like being trapped in a reality show gone wrong. Mailbox popped open, empty for days. Called the post office, someone filed a mail forwarding request sending our stuff straight to the HOA office. We hadn't filed a thing. I started putting up trail cams, GPS tags, logging every car that even looked our way. Then came the Amazon delivery fiasco, Karen blocking the poor guy yelling, "This address is under review. Take it to the HOA office," binder waving in his face, whole scene like something from a bad sitcom. But Maddie, sharp as ever, filmed the whole thing from behind the porch rail. We posted it to TikTok. Karen bans packages from our house. 500,000 views overnight. News vans circling strangers, leaving memes in our mailbox. For once, we weren't alone. Greg came back even more rattled and handed me a flash drive. Meeting recordings, emails, proof Karen was calling me a threat to community order, telling the board sometimes you need to push people out for the greater good. I didn't know if I should be scared or relieved. And then chainsaws. 4 at once, too early, too loud. I run out barefoot workers everywhere. Yellow vests, hard hats, one slicing up the lilacs, another yanking up the walkway lights, dirt, flying my whole history, getting chewed up for community compliance. I shout, "What the hell are you doing?" And one guy just says, "HOA upgrades, renovation order." Like that made it fine. Karen rolls up, "Calm as you please, Black Lexus." Purring steps out, holding coffee in one hand and a sealed envelope in the other, looking at me like I'm the tenant and she's the landlord. "Adam, you're gonna love the upgrades. Standard turf, gray trim, white picket fence board approved." I tore up the envelope and threw it in the dirt, told her she was out of her mind. She leaned in close and whispered, "You still don't get it. This isn't your home anymore. It's part of my community now." That's when I realized no one was coming to save us. So I drove straight to Mark Sullivan, a real estate attorney built like a linebacker who never saw a fight he didn't like. Dumped all the paperwork, emails, the flash drive on his desk. He grinned. "This isn't just a civil matter, Adam. It's a crime scene. We filed suit within 48 hours. Fraud, property destruction, mail, tampering, trespassing, conspiracy." Greg signed an affidavit. The emails, the voice memos, all of it went into evidence. Mark got court-ordered discovery, and the HOA's internal emails were uglier than I could have imagined. Karen writing, "Make it so miserable, he begs to leave. Bury him in violations until he cracks." There was even a voice memo, "If the law won't handle him, we will." Court day. The place was packed. Neighbors I'd never met, news crews, even the judge looked like he'd rather be anywhere else. Karen walked in like she owned the place, white suit, sunglasses. Not a glance in my direction. Mark stood up, laid out the records, called the county surveyor, who testified that no expansion was ever approved, no legal jurisdiction, period. The inspector tried to deny it, then cracked under cross-examination, admitted he'd signed a forged map after Karen threatened him with an old infraction. Mark played the voice memo, Karen's voice clear as day. "He's a threat to order. If the law won't handle him, we'll bury him in violations." You could hear the gasp ripple through the room. Even the judge's eyes narrowed. "Miss Delo, is that your voice?" the judge asked. Karen didn't say a word. By the time closing arguments finished, everybody knew how it was ending. The judge ruled in our favor, awarded us $1.2 million in damages found. Karen guilty of fraud, property destruction, mail tampering, conspiracy. HOA placed under federal audit. 3 board members resigned on the spot, and they cuffed Karen right there in court. She didn't look at me, but I saw her jaw clench, still calculating even when it was over. Afterward, the air felt different. Not peaceful, just different. I rebuilt the fence, planted new lilacs, put up a big wrought iron gate with bold black letters. Private property, no HOA. Neighbors left notes, a couple bottles of wine. Nobody talked about what happened, but they nodded when I walked by, like we'd all survived something together. Sometimes at sunset, I sit on the porch and look at that gate sky turning gold over the hills, thinking about what it took to keep this place mine. The battles, the losses, the stubbornness it took to say, no, not this time. And that's enough for me most nights, but every so often I wonder what would have happened if I'd just rolled over, if folks like Karen win in the end 1 inch at a time. So I gotta ask, where do you draw your line? Ever had to fight for something that was already yours? Drop your story below. Tell me what you do, and maybe enough of us speaking up will keep the next Karen at bay.